Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge of the Brawler Cafe, bringing you finally the last of the Brawlers analysis, talking about Ventus today. If I sound very similar or tired to how I did in the last video, it's because I'm recording this directly after recording the Pyrus video. But regardless, let's get into things. Unlike Pyrus, Ventus does have an awesome rare action. It's Endless Growth, and it sucks. So you can play this for any amount of energy, and for each energy used, you give a Bakugan plus 100B or plus 1 damage. Now the reason this sucks is because, well, in the previous videos, we've talked about the conversion, the expected value we're getting. And that's 1 energy per 200B or 2 damage. So, you should be able to very quickly figure out, with some basic math, that Endless Growth is never giving us the value we could get out of any basic on-curve cards, let alone cards that are above curve, which Ventus does have some of its own. There's just no reason to touch this. It's really, really bad. Like, what, are you going to get it up to 10 energy, play it for plus 1000B? Cool. You could have done a sick combo and used Wave Slash for like 3 or 4 energy, or oh, you got up to 8 energy, you paid 8 for 800B. I could just play Light's Courage. Like, see what I'm saying? Like, it's really, really bad. And even up to 5 energy for plus 500B, Ventus has something that does that effectively for 1 energy. That's basically the point. It's really bad. Mulch is a super rare. 4 energy, energize it. Energize the top card of your deck, and then return this to your hand. This is interesting, I guess. Infinite ramp, but it costs too much. One with Nature, I've mentioned this card a lot. It's probably the best super rare for Ventus. It's 2 cost, choose a hero, its controller must energize it. So you just yeet away any hero. Throw it into their energy. This will probably turn off your turbo, but fortunately, there aren't any good cards with turbo, so it doesn't really matter. That was passive aggressive, I'm sorry. But this card is really good. It's the best hero removal in the game. It's one of Ventus' best tools. Then we have another SR, Stomping Quake. 7 cost, plus 7 damage, turbo, draw 3 cards. Drawing 3 cards is nice, but it's 7 costs, and the only effect it's having on the battle is damage rating. I could instead get Domination and play Cute Apocalypse. That's another concept I could do. Or it could evolve into Alko's Hyper Fangsaur. That's another concept I could do. Like, 7 costs is not worth this. There are several 4 cost cards that do the same thing. Cocoon Shield. This is my favorite card that I thought was good, but then the rulebook came out and it wasn't. So Cocoon Shield is 3 costs. A Bakugan speed becomes 1000. Now, how you would think this would work is if your opponent has, say, a Titan Dragon that's at like 3150, because like it's 3000B plus 150 from a Fist Core. Say that they have that. You would assume like that. Okay, so like how this would work is that goes down to 1k, right? So like this is a check and balance for stuff like Drago and Trox and Magnus. But as it turns out, the rulebook would inform us that cards that change a B power or damage rating to a specified value only affect the base B power or damage rating. So this card became useless because 1000 is the point, the exact number that Evos tend to fall around, which means this is typically going to be causing a change of like 100 to 400, which is nothing. It's garbage. And the best value you can get out of it is like using it on Ventus Titan Garganoid Ultra, since that has 0 base B power and you just pump it up to 1000. That's pretty cool. But interactions like that are very few and far between, and I miss when we thought it was a good card. In Venom, 3 cost. We're in rares right now, by the way. I keep forgetting to say stuff like that. 3 cost, minus 5 damage to a thing, and if you're in turbo, you draw a card. It's okay. 3 cost is too much for what it's doing. Rare again, Invigoration Blast, 5 cost, plus 1 damage for each energy you have. This is like, you need 10 energy for this to be giving expected value. It's quite bad. Nature's Power. This is the best Ventus card. So this is 1 cost rare. You give a non-Ventus Bakugan minus 500B. It is ludicrously over curve. Like, this is almost as strong as Flooding Waters in Mono Aquos or Holy Flame in Fists. Like, it is ludicrously strong. Easily the strongest thing in Ventus. It's just, oh, so good. If you're running Ventus, you get 3 of these and you pray to them every night. Recycling Boost is 3 costs, minus 200B to a thing, and then Turbo Return to Hand. It's another one of these recycling cards that aren't very good. Shell Shield, this is the Mono Encourager. 2 costs, minus 3 damage for each Ventus Bakugan on your team. So in Mono, this is minus 9 damage for 2 costs. That's pretty solid, but it's not enough to make a successful Mono strategy. Crushing Grasp is 6 costs for minus 1000B. This is below curve. Cycling Ichor, 5 costs for minus 8 damage. Then return to the bottom of your deck. This is below curve. See, Cycling Light is a good card because it's on curve. All these cycling cards that are below curve are like, why would I touch this? I don't want this. That effect isn't worth being a below curve card. Deafening Roar, this is completely neutral on curve. 3 costs, minus 600B. Laser Claws, 6 cost, plus 10 damage. It is below curve. Oaken Shield, 4 costs, minus 300B if you're in Turbo, minus 900B instead. It is barely above curve, but it is a 4 cost, which means it's not really worth, because like I could be, it's still vulnerable to Shadow Strike, of course. It comes out very, very late in the game, and it's still less efficient than Knight's Courage and Wave Slash. Paralyzing Potion, 4 costs, minus 7 damage. That is below curve. Piercing Scream, this is neutral on curve. 2 costs, minus 400B. I have a thing going on with my voice whenever I say curve now. Razor Claws, 3 costs, plus 2 damage, and plus 7 instead if you are in Turbo. That's pretty decent, but it's only damage boosting, so it sucks. Shock and Awe, 4 costs, plus 4 damage. Another Bakugan gets minus 300B. That's half going into damage boosting, and it's also below curve. Smash, 2 costs, plus 3 damage. That's below curve. Sonic Howl, 3 costs, plus 4 damage. If Ventus energizes uncharged, this is actually pretty solid, but it's a damage booster, so it kind of sucks. Strength of Maxitor, 4 costs, plus 8 damage. Toxify, this is one of my favorite Ventus cards. For stall decks only. 0 cost, minus 3 damage. That is really, really nice and is very much above curve. Turn to Energy. This is your quintessential ramp card. 2 costs, energize it uncharged. I think this is actually kind of overcosted for a ramp card in this sort of game. Because like, you see 2 costs in a lot of games, but those games don't have the creatures not need to pay anything to exist. In Bakugan, the creatures just exist. And if you spend turn 2 on this, you're just relenting that, okay, I'm just going to lose this battle. That just kind of sucks. I think stuff like Stoneblade, which we'll go over in Resurgence, is what ramp kind of needs to be good. Venom Blast is 1 cost, minus 4 damage. It's a bit higher cost than Toxify for just a bit more damage reduction. If you want extra damage reduction, it's pretty solid, I guess. Ventus Moonbeam, 3 costs, minus 4 damage, and minus 8 in Turbo instead. When it comes to these minus damage cards, I think once you're getting like 3 costs or above, you're at the point where, well, you're coming in too late. I don't want you anymore. I want low cost stuff that I can use at basically any point in the game. Wild Strike, 4 costs, minus 4 damage, and energize this uncharged. This is pretty solid. It's just too high costed to be really practical. Anyways, moving on to the flips. So we have Hyperdrive, which is 3 costs. Both players may energize the top 2 cards of their deck. Not worth it. You're giving your opponent benefits. Nature Simulation. This is a card I brought attention to in my flip video. I haven't found any deck that wants it, but it's still an interesting card nonetheless, because it's 5 cost flip that guarantees stop the attack. Like no conditionals on that stop. It just stops the attack, and you energize it uncharged. Yeah, it's a pretty solid card. It's just too high cost, and you know, Not really practical, but it's a cool card, and I'd like to see more cards that just stop attacks. Tiger Reflex, this is your mandatory keyword flip, so obviously it's good. Sowing Seeds, this is 3 cost, turbo. If you have the most energy cards in play, you draw 2 cards. This is worse, Fading Dash. If you wanted that sort of effect on a flip, you would run Fading Dash. Troxus Moxie, this is the big meme card, 5 cost, energize it, and the top part of your deck uncharged. If you wanted this sort of effect on a flip, you would go for Nature's Assimilation first, I think. Photosynthesis, also known as the card that gets misprinted as Nature's Assimilation sometimes in the international packs. I have 2 English photosynthesis, 2 normal international photosynthesis, and 2 photosynthesis that 2 international photosynthesis. This, I hate that word. That says its name is Nature's Assimilation. It's very confusing. Does that mean you can run 6 photosynthesis? Is that how that works? All right. And the basic stop flips, the 0 costs are for Ventus, Darkus, and Pyrus. So the 1 cost is for Darkus and Pyrus, of course. And then the stop Outsiders one, of course. And then beyond that, we have Ventus Power, which is 4 cost, stop non-Ventus, and draw a card. Rather just use Tiger Reflex. Okay, Ventus Heroes now. Bakugan Elite. Winton Styles, this is a solid card, 4 cost. When you open a Bakugan, you may energize the top card of your deck. You don't energize it uncharged, you can use it immediately. It's pretty great. It also has the second effect that if you have 15 or more energy cards in play, your Bakugan get plus 1500B. But unless you're resolving like huge knowledge, this is basically never going off, so you shouldn't really focus on it. The only time I've managed to get this off is when I had 2 on field, and I was playing against a deck that was like 30 flip cards. Only time I ever got it off. So it gives you some energizing, but it's pretty high cost. So, you know, that's a whole thing. But the nice thing about Winton Styles is, like, basically, once you play it down, you don't have to energize from your hand anymore, because, like, Winton Styles is just going to naturally give you energy every turn. And that's pretty great to have around. So yeah, it's pretty nice in that regard. It's a cool card. I like it. Yeah. I don't like the Evo that got paired with the next set, but we'll get into that. Awesome Rare, Max. I don't know why this is Awesome Rare. It's 9 cost, opposing Bakugan get -3 damage, and then if you take any damage over it, it's destroyed. Your opponent plays Quickfire, your 9 cost disappears. Like, why is this 9 cost? This should be like 1 or 2 or 0 cost. A is 6 cost, plus 4 damage if you're in turbo. Just a damage booster, not worth. Livia is 6 cost, non-Ventus Bakugan get -300B. This isn't a terrible effect, but it's 6 cost, so it's completely impractical. That's all the heroes. So, Ventus is in this weird spot where it has all of its B power altering is reducing. So it's useless against Shadow Strike. But it doesn't really have any standout cards despite that. They're all like below curve or just on curve, with the one exception being Nature's Power, which is fantastic. It has some other good stuff, like it has Ramp, but the basic Ramp card we have has some issues that I previously described. Winton Styles has issues similar to Dan, except it's not giving you as blowout of effect whenever you open. It's not giving you a free card off the top of your deck, so you know, that's a whole thing. And its second effect is basically never going off. What else? They have the best hero removal in the game, so that's the thing. And Nature's Power could have been a good card that I could list as a positive here, but the rules screwed it. So, you know, that happened. Yeah. Ventus is solid enough in set 1, but I'm going to have words for it when we really get into the set 2 stuff, which has more to do with the set 2 support not really giving it much to do than anything in set 1, because Nature's Power and One with Nature are fantastic cards and a good basis.